The Young and the Restless spoilers full Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. In the chaotic aftermath of the Los Angeles rescue and the emotional unraveling inside the dark room, the narrative shifts back to Genoa City where another storm is silently brewing, one that has nothing to do with kidnappings or psychological warfare, yet carries an intensity capable of detonating lives just as violently. While Victor, Nick, Claire, Sharon, Noah, and Sienna face the long road home laden with trauma, guilt, and unanswered questions, a different battlefield is forming in the polished, deceptively calm streets of their hometown. This battlefield belongs to Lily Winters, Phyllis Summers, and Kane Ashby, three figures entangled in a web of past love, betrayal, pride, and the dangerously intoxicating lure of unfinished business. Lily Winters has reached her limit. She has been patient, diplomatic, and composed far longer than most people could endure, but something inside her finally snaps as whispers spread through Genoa City about Kane and Phyllis growing closer. The knowledge lands in Lily's chest like a shard of glass, not because she still loves Kane in a naive or hopeful way, but because the messy, unresolved history between them still pulses like a bruise under her skin. She once believed time would dull it. She once believed she could watch Kane rebuild his life without feeling personally implicated or threatened. But the heart rarely behaves logically, and watching Kane drift toward Phyllis's chaotic, unpredictable, relentless Phyllis awakens a fury Lily didn't realize she still carried. By the time Monday, December 1st arrives, Lily's emotional exhaustion turns into clarity. She is done playing the graceful ex. She is done being polite about a story that still hurts. She is done pretending she doesn't care that Kane has found warmth in someone else's arms. And more importantly, she is done allowing Phyllis Summers to spin narratives about Kane that do not belong to her. For Lily, the line in the sand has been drawn, not because she wants Kane back, but because she wants the past to stop bleeding into her present. She wants closure, or at least the kind of silence where wounds can finally heal. But Phyllis has never been the type to back down when challenged, and the collision course between them becomes inevitable. Phyllis Summers, fiery and unapologetic, has her own reasons for refusing to step aside. She has fought too many battles, clawed her way out of too many near misses, and endured too many public humiliations to let anyone, least of all Lily, dictate who she can or cannot care about. Her connection with Kane may not be traditional or tidy, but it electrifies her. It makes her feel alive, wanted, relevant in a world that constantly tries to sideline her. And so, when Lily pushes, Phyllis pushes back with equal force. She refuses to listen to Lily's lectures about emotional boundaries or moral expectations. She refuses to be shamed for exploring something that feels real to her. And beneath her confident exterior, Phyllis also recognizes an inconvenient truth. Kane has been drifting toward her not just out of loneliness, but out of genuine longing. This is the spark that lights the fuse. When Lily and Phyllis finally cross paths on Monday, the tension between them is so thick it ripples through the air like heat off pavement. Words escalate quickly. Tone sharpens. The argument becomes a verbal boxing match, two women who have held themselves together for too long now letting every bruise, every resentment, every insecurity spill to the surface. They accuse each other of selfishness, manipulation, hypocrisy, and denial. They dig up old wounds and throw them like weapons. And while neither woman lays a hand on the other, the emotional violence of their confrontation is harsher than any physical blow could have been. Lily's voice trembles with a blend of heartbreak and frustration as she demands Phyllis stop flaunting her involvement with Kane as though it were some triumphant trophy. Phyllis fires back with the raw confidence of someone who refuses to be diminished, reminding Lily that she was the one who pushed Kane away, repeatedly, decisively, long before Phyllis ever stepped into the picture. In Phyllis's mind, Lily forfeited her claim, and now she has no right to rewrite the past. The argument leaves them both shaken, breathless, and aware that this is just the beginning. Lily walks away with tears she refuses to let anyone see. Phyllis storms off with adrenaline spiking through her veins, simultaneously furious and exhilarated. And Kane, caught between a past he never fully let go of and a present he barely understands, stands at the center of a confrontation he never asked for but cannot escape. Yet the battle for Kane's heart is not the only threat looming over him. Victor Newman is still watching. Still tightening the trap. Still operating with the cold precision of a man who believes Kane Ashby needs to face consequences for daring to challenge him, whether directly or indirectly. The mustache does not forget betrayal, nor does he overlook ambition when it threatens the equilibrium of his empire. Kane's attempt to rise through arabesque, his use of advanced AI technology, his belief that innovation could outrun instinct, all of it rubbed Victor the wrong way. And now that Victor has access to the AI system Phyllis discreetly slipped into his control, the weapon aimed at Kane is more potent than ever. Newman's AI system, gleaming, sophisticated, deceptively efficient, is quietly dismantling arabesque from the inside out. The algorithms misdirect. The projections destabilize. The strategic suggestions lead Kane toward financial cliffs he cannot see, cannot predict, cannot understand. His company bleeds through gaps he didn't know existed. Clients lose confidence. Investors pull away. Teams he trusted begin questioning his judgment. Every hour, the trap tightens, and Kane, frustrated, confused, desperate, keeps scrambling to understand why everything he touches is turning to dust. What he doesn't know is that Victor's plan is not merely to weaken him. It is to break him. The question is not whether Kane will fall for the trap, it is how hard he will hit the ground when he does. As Kane grapples with the collapse of arabesque and the emotional fallout of Lily and Phyllis's escalating war, Newman Enterprises begins quietly preparing for a strategic family meeting, a gathering not of sentiment, but of war. The Newman family has always operated like a kingdom, and when the king senses a threat, he calls his army. With Noah and Nick returning from Los Angeles deeply shaken, Claire spiraling toward emotional volatility, and the growing suspicion that the events surrounding Matt Clark may be part of a larger, unseen attack, Victor knows the Newmans must unify. They must map out vulnerabilities. Anticipate incoming blows. Decide who they can trust and who they cannot. The family will gather soon, Victor, Nikki, Nick, Victoria, Adam, and perhaps even Claire depending on the state of her emotional control. It will not be a harmonious meeting, Newman meetings rarely are. But it will be necessary. They will dissect the threats, Kane, Matt Clark's final schemes, the vulnerabilities of arabesque, the questionable loyalties of certain Genoa City residents, and the fragility of the relationships that hold their empire together. While Genoa City prepares for emotional warfare on all fronts, Lily versus Phyllis, Kane versus Victor, Noah versus the truth, Claire versus herself. The stage is set for a collision that will shape the next arc of the Newman dynasty. The question is not if it will explode. It is who will survive the explosion. While the Newman family begins gathering their forces in the shadows, another legacy, equally storied and equally vulnerable, prepares to defend itself across town. The Abbott siblings, Jack, Ashley, and Tracy, stand on the threshold of a storm that threatens not just their company, but the very soul of their family's identity. Jabot has survived lawsuits, betrayals, boardroom coups, romantic scandals, and external acquisitions, yet the quiet, insidious threat emerging from Kane's AI software and Victor Newman's interference is unlike anything they've faced before. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not come with raised voices or broken alliances. It comes like a slow poison seeping under the door, corrupting the foundation of everything John Abbott built. On Monday, the Abbotts come together not as individuals with their own complicated histories, but as a united force, siblings bound not only by blood, but by the weight of carrying a legacy that has shaped Genoa City for generations. Jack arrives first, carrying the tension of a man who has spent days studying the threat Kane Ashby inadvertently unleashed onto the corporate landscape. Ashley arrives moments later, composed yet simmering with the fierce intelligence and analytical sharpness she is known for. Tracy, the emotional center of their family, follows quietly, bringing with her a calm strength that often proves more powerful than any boardroom strategy. The three of them gather in the Abbott mansion, the walls echoing with memories of John Abbott's guidance, discipline, and unwavering devotion to building something honorable. Something that stood for more than profit or ego. The house feels alive today, humming with the energy of old battles resurfacing and new ones forming. For the first time in months, the siblings feel aligned, attuned to one purpose, protecting what is theirs. Jack is the first to speak, but his voice carries a heaviness that immediately captures Ashley and Tracy's attention. He breaks down everything he has learned about Kane's AI. Its capabilities, its weaknesses, the unprecedented access it has to market patterns, competitor vulnerabilities, and predictive algorithms. But more alarming than the AI itself is what Jack has discovered about who is now controlling it, Victor Newman. The moment Victor's name crosses Jack's lips, Ashley stiffens, her expression hardening with a mixture of anger and concern. Tracy's heart sinks, knowing all too well what it means when Victor Newman inserts himself into another family's affairs. Jack explains that Victor has acquired the AI system through Phyllis, exploiting her desperation and resentment to gain access to technology capable of destabilizing companies from within. The more Jack talks, the clearer the danger becomes. This is not merely Kane's weapon anymore. This is a Newman weapon. And when Victor Newman holds a weapon, especially one as sophisticated and destructive as this, no rival is safe. Ashley immediately begins to pace, her mind racing with possibilities. She knows Victor well enough to understand he doesn't make moves without long-term strategy. If he's targeting Arabesque, he could be laying groundwork that eventually leads to Jabot. And if he destabilizes Kane enough, Kane might lash out at others, dragging Jabot into the fallout. Ashley is not frightened, but she is furious. The thought of Victor using stolen technology to manipulate the market is exactly the kind of ruthless behavior she always warned Jack about. Tracy, ever the voice of reason, asks the question neither of them wants to consider: what if Victor's true target is Jabot itself? The silence that follows her words is heavy. Jack's jaw tightens. He knows the answer. Ashley knows it too. This is not just about Kane Ashby. This is about the Abbotts. And Victor Newman has always taken a certain satisfaction in humiliating them. For years, the rivalry between Jack and Victor has fueled some of the most catastrophic battles in Genoa City's history. Corporate espionage, hostile takeovers, personal vendettas, and emotional warfare, they have inflicted it all upon each other. And now, equipped with modern technological warfare, Victor may have discovered a way to attack Jabot without lifting a finger directly. Jack steps closer to his sisters and lowers his voice, outlining his theory. Victor is destabilizing Kane as a distraction. As Kane falls apart, the market will shift. Investors will panic. Competitors will begin circling. And in that chaos, Jabot could become vulnerable to an attack no one sees coming. Ashley's eyes flare with understanding. This isn't just strategy. It's Victor's signature move: destroy someone else so thoroughly that the debris lands on your true target. The Abbotts must act now. Together, they begin forming a plan, the kind of strategic consolidation they haven't executed in years. Ashley suggests an internal audit of Jabot's newer systems, ensuring no fragments of Kane's AI have infiltrated through shared networks or cybersecurity breaches. Jack agrees, but pushes further. He believes they must proactively build countermeasures, algorithms that can anticipate and neutralize Newman's AI should Victor attempt to manipulate the cosmetics market or Jabot's stock value. Tracy, though not a corporate strategist, contributes something equally vital: insight into Kane's emotional unraveling. She knows Kane, understands his guilt, his desperation, and his longing for stability. Kane is dangerous not because he wishes to harm Jabot, but because a desperate man is unpredictable. He might unknowingly drag Jabot into Victor's trap. The Abbotts must find a way to stabilize Kane, or at least distance themselves from the implosion he's walking directly into. Ashley grows more anxious as they continue brainstorming, her distrust of Kane resurfacing. She questions whether Kane's involvement with Phyllis further complicates matters, especially since Phyllis is known for walking the tightrope between brilliance and disaster. If Phyllis is in the mix, there's no telling which direction the chaos might spill. Jack acknowledges this, but insists they focus on the real threat, Victor. He admits he's unsure whether even the most brilliant strategy will be enough to prevent Victor from tightening his hold on the market. Victor plays chess while everyone else plays checkers. He predicts moves before others even realize they're on the board. But the Abbotts refuse to let fear dictate their next step. If Victor wants war, they will prepare. For the first time in a long while, the Abbott siblings feel the weight of their father's presence. A reminder of who they are, where they came from, and what they stand for. John Abbott taught them integrity, compassion, and unyielding loyalty. He built Jabot not as a tool for power, but as a legacy founded on family values. And now, with modern threats emerging from shadows both familiar and new, the responsibility to protect that legacy falls to his children. Jack, Ashley, and Tracy join hands, an unspoken vow forming between them. They will not let Jabot fall. They will not allow Victor Newman to dismantle their family's identity. They will not stand idle while Kane's mistakes and Victor's ambition collide into a storm capable of shaking Genoa City to its core. The Abbott War Council has begun. And in the days ahead, the legendary rivalry between Newman and Abbott will rise again, fiercer than it has been in years, escalating into a conflict that threatens alliances, ignites old wounds, and forces every character in Genoa City to choose a side. Because when the Abbotts unite, they do not fight to wound. They fight to win.